Let's go. Let's go. Welcome back to another episode of the Whole That Show, and we're live. Whew. Uh, I don't really know what to say. Um, there's a whole lot of football that happened this week, and we'll talk about it. I'm Abdalini. I'm your host, but before that, co-host, introduce yourself.
Yeah, man is there still. Um, Obviously we got the 3 points. Deservedly so. Um, I can't even say we're riding our luck because riding your luck would mean that you're not playing well, but we're actually playing well. We're just not being decisive. But yeah, man, if anything, um, in terms of the games, if anything was to go by, Liverpool should be wrapping up Manchester United this week. Yeah, Chelsea did their thing still. A bit dubious though with the two penalty decisions. Not gonna lie, it was a bit soft, but let's dive in.
Yeah, before we talk about our games, I think because there's three teams that we're focused on in terms of the title race, I think we'll go game by game, and we'll start on the day before yesterday, which was Wednesday. Um, Not much to say on Arsenal's game. A nice, easy win. They made some changes, which was good. They freshened up the squad, but it showed that a lot of their inferior players aren't good enough going forward, and do need to make improvements if they want to become a team that wins the big titles. Um, I would say this brilliant so much onto that game. Do you have anything on the Arsenal game, or did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it. I think Luton won the second half. I think they were probably scared in the first half. They didn't play how I would know them to play, or how we all know them to play, in the sense of showing grit, showing desire, being fearless. They didn't show that in the first half and just allowed Arsenal to just walk in the park really and truly. But the second half, they turned up in the second half and they showed the grit, they showed the desire, they showed the fearlessness, and it looked as if they were gonna grab a draw really and truly. But yeah, a reshuffled Arsenal team. Bukayo Saka wasn't there. He still has 24 hours to respond to that Cole Palmer hat trick and Phil Foden hat trick. Time is ticking. So yeah, man. They did what they had to do. But listen, a title race isn't gonna be won or lost or draw from this match. Like, Arsenal should have won this match comfortably, regardless of the team that they put out. It's the next few ones. So they've got Brighton coming up away from home. I expect that to be a lot more difficult than a Luton game. So yeah, they did what they had to do. Good 3 points, but as I said, that game is just an anomaly. It's a write-off. They were always going to win.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Um, there's not much else to say about that game. But you alluded to it about the hat tricks. We go on to a big game. To be honest, a very big game in terms of. 1 second. Some of the video ain't videoing. Okay. All right. It is what it is. Some drop frames, but it is what. What the hell? Oh, nothing I can do about that for now. But the next game, as you alluded to, with the hat tricks and Man City, Aston Villa. This was a very interesting one because Villa are a team that are going for Champions League football. City are going for the title, and it started off as though it was going to be something big because early on City dominated. Rodri got the goal, but then Villa fought back, fought back. They got themselves back in there with Duran with a lovely tidy finish. But without De Bruyne, without Haaland, Philip, Frank, Jeremy, Foden the third decided to put the team on his back. He said, "You know what? It's my time." And I gotta say, every goal was brilliant. His overall play in that second half as well to put his team where he needed to be. The third goal, especially, he got fouled, but he didn't roll around like he was Bruno Fernandez 2,160 times. He got back up and hit them with the chicken zinger. But yeah, man, Philip Foden said, he didn't take 24 hours to respond to Palmer on the weekend, but he responded. He said, you know what? People need to know who I am. I am Philippe Foden, and what a second half and a lovely hat trick and yeah, man, quality player and he showed out for his team. Do you have anything to say on the City game and Foden's performance to put his team on his back?
Yeah, he took longer than 24 hours to respond to Palmer. Still, he should be ashamed of himself, especially when Palmer responded in 24 hours as well. That's how brazy man is. But do you know what? Who said it? Maka Richards said yeah that Phil Foden is world class. I'm sick and tired of these pundits and fans throwing around this label of world class players. I think people need to understand what world class actually is and what it means because these men are just throwing it out willy nilly. Like a world class player means that someone is like, for example, Mohamed Salah. That's world class. Someone that's scoring 20 goals a season, 7 seasons since being at Liverpool, over 20 goals per season. That is world class for a winger as well. He's not even a striker and he's doing that. That's world class. Phil Foden is a good player. He's not world class because he's not delivering in big games. He didn't deliver against Arsenal last weekend. He was shocking, non-existent, disappearal act. He wasn't there. He didn't deliver against Chelsea vs Man City when it was 4-4. He wasn't battling against Cole Palmer. It was Palmer by himself on ends. This is the difference between world class. Someone that can show up and show out. Week in upon week out. It doesn't matter about having a trophy accolade to your name because you can have trophy accolades to your name and not deliver. Calvin Phillips, for example, trophy laden to his name, but he ain't delivering. And he hasn't delivered since leaving Leeds. And Villa looked like they were gonna cause a problem. And to be fair, when we look at that um when we look at that fixture, Man City, Aston Villa, naturally you would assume that that would be a tough game because Aston Villa, again, they're trying to fight for top four, but it just wasn't meant to be. The defense wasn't on point, they weren't on form, and you know. I think the Ollie Watkins injury has obviously took the steam out of the game and has impacted them because they didn't have someone to run in behind. They didn't have a target man that can hold up the ball well and bring in the wide players, bring in the midfielders. There wasn't that connection between the midfield and the striker. So, I mean, maybe they probably didn't deliver because of that regard. The game plan went out the window. But again, Aston Villa, Man City at home, they got the 3 points, so fair play to them. And obviously, they're going to be looking towards the next game now.
Yeah, exactly. I think when it comes down to the games coming thick and fast, it's for both City and Arsenal. It's good that they're making changes. They're taking out big players like Saka and Haaland and De Bruyne, and still getting the 3 points. And I think in terms of the title race, it's just win by any means necessary. I think the team that drops points first is going to be the losers, and it can come in any game in any shape and form. So it's going to be really interesting to see what team is the first to falter. I don't think any of them look like they're going to. It might have to be the harder fixtures that are coming up against the likes of the Tottenhams, even a United can be a problem. The Aston Villa's away. If you're at Aston Villa Stadium, that's going to be an issue. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of who does what. But we move on in terms of the title race picture into your game. And for me, I think think you made a mountain out of a molehill when it came to that game. Sheffield United are a team that aren't doing much. I don't think they're gonna stay up in the league. And you scored early on, but then you allowed them back into it with an own goal. But a player that was a bargain signing, a player that a lot of people weren't looking at as a signing that was gonna make an impact, made an impact and hit a bazooka, hit an absolute bazooka into the top bins. McAllister has been probably the third best midfielder in the league this season behind Rice and Rodri. And for me, I think in terms of all the signings you've made in the summer, he's been one of the best. I think he's added an extra dimension to your midfield that you didn't have previous seasons, and the fact that you were dealing with the likes of Henderson and Milner to come to the midfield that you have now is amazing. Obviously, Gakpo isn't the greatest, but he got his goal. Maybe that gives him a bit of confidence. Finished off the game with a lovely little header, but it's going to be interesting to see going forward what will happen with the team and a big game on the weekend. Obviously, you got United on the weekend. That's more than just a regular game. That's a rivalry. That's the biggest game in English football. So I think it's gonna be different. I think both teams are gonna be up for it, and it's gonna be interesting if you can continue this momentum into the next game. But a great win, made it harder than it needed to be. A lot of missed chances, and I think Liverpool need to become more clinical and put when they getting those opportunities, don't allow a team to like Sheffield United to come back, because another day, another team that could be a draw. But luckily enough, uh, McAllister stepped up, Gakpo got his third, and there was a good win. What do you think about that in terms of the game and
Yeah,
in terms of the team?
yeah, man. It's crazy because we're keeping up that momentum of the second half. We turn it up, and the I can't remember what the stats was in terms of the second half, in terms of the amount of points that we've accumulated. But when it comes to the second half, it's like we just turn it on and we go on and just win the game with ease. It's just crazy. It's crazy to me that every single first half we always start off slow. It's like we're complacent, we're asleep. I don't know what's said at the start of the game. It's funny because it's the same as Chelsea. The first half is phenomenal, but the second half is like whatever said in the second half just demotivates them. Whereas Liverpool in the first half, whatever said to start the game, they're just very complacent. But then in the second half, they go on and just blitz a team, and I don't like that. Yeah, we've been doing that probably for the whole season. We've been doing that really, but I don't like that because to me it just goes to show the mentality in the second half means that you got the mentality to go on and win the game. Okay, cool. But in the first half, it just goes to show that they're just very complacent and they're allowing teams to have that confidence to come to your bit and think that they can go on and win. Like the amount of chances that we created in that game, we should have won it at least 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 1. And to me, if all three of our teams go on a winning run and do not drop points, the league could be decided on goal difference. And the amount of chances that we've had to go on and actually batter teams, it would annoy me if it did come down to goal difference because it just goes to show that Arsenal and City have been a lot more ruthless when it comes to taking their chances, whereas us, it's like we're not being ruthless. We're not taking our chances. We're just complacent and we're just thinking that we've won the game without even kicking the ball. And that's what annoys me about Liverpool's performances. And we're going to Old Trafford, which is a stadium that we don't always do well in. And number two, United are very jammy against us in a sense where we dominate on next levels, but they still manage to snatch a win. Why? Because we're giving them that confidence and belief to think that they can win the game. And that's what I want my team to not do. I want my team to just go to games and wrap teams up like they used to a few years ago. Just go to gaffs, wrap them up 3-0. Then when second half comes, we're chilling and we're choosing whether we want to get another goal, because defensive wise, they're not gonna score against us. That's what I want my team to be doing. I don't know if it's possible to do that because again, like Salah's not on form. Diaz is good, and I like the fact that he's coming more infield to try and create a lot more. And we saw that in that Sheffield game, and I like that. But I just think he needs to also start being more clinical. Darwin Nunes is Darwin Nunes, so there's nothing I can generally say about him. Um, but I just think for me, the performance was there and it was good, but we just didn't deliver as much as I would have liked them to have delivered. And I think the substitutions really changed the game. Bringing on Curtis Jones, bringing on Harvey Elliott really changed the game and really allowed us to go on and win the game. And I think out of all the players to return, I'm really happy that Curtis Jones has come back because he's the one player that I believe offers a bit more than all of our midfields in a sense where he's a ball carrier. He likes to be a box to box. He likes to pick up the ball from deep and drive at attackers, drive at midfielders, drive at defenders from the midfield spot. And he really likes to open up space and allow something to happen. And I need my midfielders to do that. I need my fielders to be running with the ball, not be pressing. Pressing is good, which is what Slobberslide does. But I need you to be creative. I need you to do something with a ball, and that's something that Curtis Jones does, and that's what he did in the Sheffield game. And I think if those substitutions wasn't made, we probably wouldn't have gone on to win that game. But having Elliot and having Jones really come on is really given, I think, myself a boost personally when it comes to going to Old Trafford, because to me, I know that Curtis Jones can go to Old Trafford and really dominate that midfield. And the midfield that I actually want to see is Endo, McAllister, and Curtis Jones. That's that midfield that I want to see. I actually don't want to see Slobberslide. I don't, because I think Slobberslide is good, but right now, given the formation that we're currently playing, I don't think having McAllister and Slobberslide in the same team is working. I said this before and I'll say it again. I feel like all that creativity and all that creativity that was happening from our team against Sheffield was coming from McAllister. And having Slobberslide, who's a natural number 10, who doesn't play at 8, he doesn't play 8 for his country. He's never played at 8. He's always been a 10. And where we don't play 10s, he's having to come infield to be at 8. But by doing that, it means that he has to be a ball carrier. But because it's not his natural position, he prefers to be in pockets. We're not getting the best out of him. So then we have to rely on McAllister, who is a natural 8. And that's why we're seeing the best from McAllister. That's why he's creating so many chances for us, because we're utilizing his ability. But we're not utilizing Slobberslide. And I feel sorry for the guy because, as I said, we're not playing the formation for his strengths. But I just think moving on to next season with a new manager, which potentially is out Roberto Almiron, I feel like where he's so tactically flexible, I reckon he'll get the best out of Slobberslide and McAllister. But the system that we're currently playing right now only suits 8, and unfortunately, Slobberslide just isn't that. And I think from now till the end of the season, we're probably gonna see the worst of Slobberslide, unfortunately. But yeah, man, I'm happy for Gakpo to get in the goal. It will obviously boost his confidence. The last 10 to 15 minute cameo of Gakpo, I actually saw why we purchased him. He was making those driving runs. He was a lot more confident because he was playing on the left. He wasn't playing through the middle. He was making driving runs. He was trying to beat his attacker. He was trying to create space to get into the box and take a shot. So I saw the best out of him playing on that left. Um, Again, it's just a shame that Diaz is offering a bit more right now. But again, maybe when a new manager comes in, certain players might get the nod over others, and we might see the best out of certain players that we bought. But I think signing of the season right now is definitely McAllister. Um, Personally, in my opinion. Um, and the signings that we've made, unfortunately, just hasn't worked since Michael Edwards has left. So now that Michael Edwards is back, I reckon we'll make shrewd business signings like we did before with Firmino, Salah, and Sadio Mane and Co. And I reckon we'll make signings that will actually benefit the team, not like the guys that we had before. So yeah, man, good win. But this win won't mean nothing if we go to Old Trafford and lose. So there's nothing really much I can say until let's go to Old Trafford and win. That's all I care about. W's only.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the main crux of it. I think the game on Old Trafford is more of the litmus test of whether Liverpool can do this season, and I think they have it all in their hands in terms of it's up to them if they want to win the league or not. They just got to keep on winning because the moment they drop points, the two sharks behind them are gonna smell blood, and City are definitely a team that will smell blood. We don't know if Arsenal gonna be that team, but City definitely has a history of doing it. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens on the weekend. But speaking of the team you're facing on the weekend, from the the tactical war fest of City Arsenal on the weekend to a game at Stamford Bridge, which was pure Barclays. It made no sense. They weren't good teams, no structure. It was 100% vibes, and I was annoyed throughout. It was a game of three points, three different periods of time. The first period, Chelsea got in the lead. Um, took one of the United players made a mistake. We took the ball off them. It went wide into Gusto. Gusto low cross. Varane only could hit it to Conor Gallagher. Conor Gallagher low and hard. For me, the first goal, Onana has to save it. It is too close to him not to save it. I don't know what he was doing there. It's not like it's in a corner or top bins or good strike. It was just low and just boom. And I think Onana needed to save that one. Now we go on to the second goal, the penalty. Now for me, whether you believe it's a penalty or not, why is Anthony trying to tackle Cucurella in that position? When in the history of football is Cucurella going to do anything from that position? He ain't scoring from there. He may be able to get a pass in, but guess what? You got your centre backs in the middle to block off the pass. You got to think sometimes when you make a decision. Don't ever tackle someone in the box and give the referee a decision to make. Gave them a decision, and a penalty is basically a free goal when it comes to Cole Palmer. Touch wood, but he doesn't seem like he's gonna miss them. Last weekend Panenka. This weekend, as cool as you like. 2-0, cruising, and I'm thinking, yeah, this is gonna be a battering. This is gonna be a slaughter. I'm feasting right now. I'm thinking, yeah, I want more goals. Yeah, I'm saying, listen, these men don't want it. These men aren't on it. But no, what happens? My team let me down, and just like we did against Arsenal, where the goalkeeper gave them a gift. Caicedo, I'm looking at you. You gave them a gift. It's a great assist into Garnacho. Garnacho runs in, does the finish. I see that going, and I'm thinking to myself, first of all, throughout, even though we scored the two goals, we were giving them too much time on the ball. We're making Anthony look like he was Ronaldo in his prime. Garnacho, too much time on the ball. We were allowing them to play through us. There was no urgency in terms of attacking them. Every time they had the ball, we were just sitting back off them. United don't want the pressure. We should have pressed them from the beginning till the very end. We didn't do that. We allowed them to get into the game. And then we give them the free goal of the Casado mistake. Then the second goal, Bruno Fernandes with the freedom of the whole of Stamford Bridge right side to score that header. Yet again, same mistakes that I've seen throughout this season. Free header at the back post. For some reason, when it comes to corners, free kicks, or any type of crosses, we don't know how to defend him. And I'm thinking, where's the left back? Where's Cucurella? I don't know where he is. To be honest, most of the game he was playing left wing. Man thought this was freestyle football, goal to goal, because that's how these men were playing. It's 2-2, and I ain't gonna lie to you. I switched off for a second. I was done with the game. I was like 2-0 up at home, and we do this. 2-0 up home, and we do this. I ain't gonna lie. I started playing game. I was like half looking, because I knew the worst was yet to come. Seconds before they score the third, Gallagher has the ball on the edge of the box. Player to the right he can put through. Player down the middle he can put through. Player to the left that he can, do a dip pass. What he does. Man kicks it out of the pitch. Man hits it like it was hitting a 40-yarder. Man was hitting Rose Ed with that pass. That leads to their counter attack. Man like Anthony did a Rabona assist into Garnacho. What was the keeper doing, getting out of his box like that? Stay on your line and allow him to pass you on the goal line. I don't know. If you're gonna go for it, get the ball. Or get the man. You're the goalkeeper. Get the ball or get the man. Because we've seen goalkeepers take that man out, 2-footed kicks, karate kicks, all sorts, and get away with it. Inexperience from Petrovic there. And it's 3-2. And I'm hot. I'm gonna lie. I'm so hot. Yeah. I start tuning in between games. I'm going to Liverpool game, I'm going to my game, I'm going to Liverpool game, I'm going to my game. I don't know why they were both at the same time. It was annoying. I was hot. Yeah. I was hot towards the end of the game. I'm gonna lie, there was a period that the game was a blur to me. It was a blur to me. I was thinking, I was going to come onto this show being angry. And I am angry. I'm annoyed about what happened. Because we allowed them for a 70-minute period to actually look like a good team. There was a point where they had more shots than us. We crawled it back towards the end. We got 29 shots on them, but we allowed them to have like 16, 17. There was no midfield. There was no nothing. Now, we're a team that is based on PNP, Palmer and pray, Palmer and inshallah. In Palmer we trust. President Palmer. Ice cold. Yeah. He saved us. The two things saved us. The one thing that Poch did right is put on Madueke and Carney, and they added an oomph and kind of impetus to the way we played. The Sterling sub made no sense, and the centre back, right back, did make no sense for me. But Madueke coming on, he did one thing that none of our players were doing: running at them. Anthony and Garnacho was doing that all weekend, all day, 24/7, 365. Cucurella was getting cooked. Gusto was having a bit of a hard time as well. But Cucurella was getting cooked, flambéed by Anthony. But, Madueke said, it's my turn. He said, Dallo, come here. I'm snatching souls. He got past him, cooked him, last minute. Yeah, I'm talking about last seconds, 99th minute. He got cooked so much that Dallo was starting to drop. Man was falling on the floor, man. He was like, falling on the floor, falling all over his leg. Now, for me, the first penalty was a penalty. The second one was a bit soft. I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't see I saw no contact. I saw a man fall over onto him and graze him. man gave him a light pet. like a light touch. That Jimmy Savile touch, and he went down, and we got the penalty. And as I said, Palmer and Prey, man made Onana go the other way. That's what he did. Cool as you like. But you know what he did that I liked so much? He didn't celebrate. He wanted the ball. He said, let's go for the fourth. Other man wanted to do up the whole celebration thing. No. No 3-3 today. Man United thought it was game over. They probably thought it was, 98th minute. No, it wasn't. You know what was their problem for that last goal beforehand? Them man had 9 of their man on our side of the pitch when we countered them. Them man had their whole team doing up shaku on our side of the pitch. We countered them, and Carney hits a shot, and it goes for that corner. And then what happens in that corner? Them man left ice cold Palmer on the edge of the box. And you know what 3 man were doing? They were pointing at him. They were pointing at him from different directions. You know what they were saying? Enzo, look, Palmer's free over there. United, man. Fernandez, your capitan, standing on the near side post like anyone's going to score from. We don't score headers. We don't score. When was the last time you saw us score a header like that? Maybe when Silva was playing. That's the last probably time I saw a header from our team. And these men were pointing at Palmer on the edge of the box. Yeah, the Sassy.
Yes.
He can maybe once in a blue moon. Oh, the Sassy disaster class. Him as well. Man, there was one point where he gave away the ball. Yeah. Ran back, did the tackle, and celebrated like he scored a goal. This guy's a fool. Man was doing passion motion for his own mistakes. No, the defense was in trouble, and Nketiah wasn't in the room. But we go back to the 4th goal. Palmer, one touch, hits it, and guess what? The substitution you brought on, McSauce, hits off McSauce, and it's 4-3, and that's scenes, and I'm excited. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, nah, we made United look good. Our midfield was non-existent. Our defensive partnership was terrible. What I learned from this game was Casemiro, he's past it. There was a point where Jackson was running past him and he was jogging. He was like, man was thinking like Thiago Silva, I want to be in Brazil. Let him go in the summer because Casemiro, he's done out here. Varane, he needs to go as well. Them two don't deserve this. They don't deserve to be a part of that squad. Ten Hag doesn't know what he's doing. Every sub he made no mistake. It was like they were trying to go bar for bad subs. That's what they were trying to do. It's like, oh, my bad sub? Oh, no, you bad sub. My bad sub? No, your bad sub. But luckily, we had the best player out on the pitch. It was like a basketball game. But we had the best player. We had Ice Cold Palmer. He said, Foden, you scored a hat-trick. Well, I'm around. 2 penalties and a nice finish to finish off the team. And the thing is, what's even funnier is Pochettino celebrated like we won the Champions League final. Man was celebrating like, like that was a Premier League winning final. Shameless celebrations. Man, them were running off the bench and all sorts. And you know what the worst sum of all was? I don't know why you bring on Mount. After all the talk about Mount saying, Mount wanting money, the move and everything, the last thing you want to do is to get... The crowd was dead. At 3-2 to United, the crowd was dead. You bring on Mount, the crowd lifted up. They were booing him, and the players felt that. And you saw Enzo at the end. Man tapped the badge and called and said, El Traitor. Man said some nasty things in Spanish. I'm not repeating it on here, but he told him what's what. He said, remember where you came from, brother. Yeah. This is your real home. Man over there trying to be David Beckham, regen. You're not fit to wear the number 7. Hell, this is probably the first time I've seen you fit. You've been out for most of the season. Man's got the number 7. The guys that have numbers in this league is disgraceful. Nketiah with number 14, Smith Rowe with number 10, and this donut with number 7. Beckham, Ronaldo, real man. Anyway,
Antona.
Cantona. Obviously, we got to remember him, Mr. Karate Kick. If you get rude, kick in your face. If you get rude, kick in your face. Yeah, that guy there. Bow. But overall, this game was just two bad teams, man. I was watching a video, and Rance was saying, Rance and Bance. He said that it was basically like two fat girls fighting in a club. That's what he was getting. And you know what? He's right.
You know.
That's what it was. It was just two dead things fighting for their lives. This used to be a title match. This used to back in the early 2000s. This was Goliath versus Goliath for the title. 1.2 point difference in the title race. Now we're the mid-table man them with Brighton and Fulham and them man. And for me, outside of the top five teams in this league, the rest of the teams are bummy. The fact that Man United and West Ham have negative goal difference after 30 games and are sixth and seventh in this league is a joke thing. There's only five teams that we can trust around here, and one of them is Villa, which is mad to me. Unai Emery in Unai Emery, good evening, but for me, man, like it just shows that this league needs something new in terms of management because Ten Hag and Pochettino, it was El Sacico, and you're both gone. If you're not both gone in the summer, someone needs to be checked because I don't. If I'm Ineos, I'm not keeping Ten Hag, and if I'm Clear Lake, I'm not keeping Poch because there's no improvements from here. There's nothing that shows me that either of these teams have a bright future. Because there are good players, and they're good players. The Manos, the Palmers, those kind of guys. 2-3 years from now, they got to move on. The pastures new to Barcelona, to Madrid, to Milan, to Bayern Munich when they turn around. To the clubs that are doing well, like Arsenal, Liverpool, City, they will move on. Palmer will probably go home, back to City, once they realize that Doku is doing too much shafu on the beat, and they made a mistake. But thank you, Man City, for Palmer. Um, he's on the same goals as Salah this season, which is mad to me. Same goals as Watkins. 2 goals away from Haaland. He is a one-man team. I haven't seen anything like him since Hazard, and this is his first season for us. And this shows the level that we're at, that Palmer, a guy that we got from Man City's academy, is our best player. We used to be given academy graduates and making them a team's best player. When we were giving out the Guehi's, the Tomoris and them, man. Now they're doing it. Now City's doing it to us. City, little man in us. Oh yeah, have our scraps. We're starving out here. Have our scraps. The one and only, man. That's how I feel right now. It's a long season, and I'm gonna lie to you. The best we can hope for is 6th, and that's disgraceful. The best we can hope for is Europa League this season for Chelsea Football Club. Man United are probably going to finish 9th or 10th because I don't think they're going to. For me, Liverpool are going to slap them, man. If they play the same way, and this, Wahali football that they're doing right now, Liverpool are just going to counter them to death, and it's going to be light work, easy pickings. The only thing I can say is that we've played a game less than most of the team around us, and one win moves us to like 7th or 8th. So we got a chance to finish 6th, get Europa League at least next season. And also, actually no, I'll talk about that after I get your opinion on the game. I want to hear about your opinion on the game because there's one more thing that I want to talk about after this.
Well, this definitely was a El Sakiko match, and it was a case of regardless of who won, they both deserve to go because the performance alone was terrible. It would have been different if like Chelsea slapped them up at Stamford Bridge and United didn't get a goal and it was say something like 3-4-0. Then like I'd probably be like, oh yeah, Pochettino's actually won the El Sakiko derby. But he ain't even won anything because the defending from Chelsea was just shocking. It was absolutely shocking. I would love to know what both teams are doing on a training ground. From Monday to Friday, I would love to know what they're actually doing because it was literally vibes. It was vibes on the pitch. There was no one in midfield willing to just clamp and stop counters, clamp and just regain possession. There was no one in defense that was willing to be leaders and stand up and be like, nope, you guys aren't getting a shot off. Like strikers were non-existent. Like it was just terrible. A game that allowed Anthony to ball out, that alone says it all. Yeah, people can banter about Liverpool saying Anthony scored his first goal, but my man balled out at Stamford Bridge. Like that's probably even more of a bigger banter. He man was balling out away from home. Like the match was a disgrace. It was an absolute disgrace. And I think for me, when you look at the game and you realize that Palmer is the age that he is, and he's leading Chelsea to victory upon victory, like that alone is worrying. It's worrying because I'm gonna be real. If I was Palmer and my team is like this, and say for example Pochettino stays, I'm gonna be real. I'm handing in a transfer request and I'm leaving. I am because my talent, like Tim Sherwood said, your talent is being wasted in this team. There's no one around you to elevate you. There's no one around you. If anything, you're out there trying to elevate everybody else. And the age that he is, that shouldn't be the case. There should be guys in that team that are elevating him. I saw a clip a few days ago of every single game that Chelsea have had and the opportunities in terms of chance creation that Palmer has had. All Chelsea needed is a solid number 9 in front of him. I couldn't even count the amount of opportunities that he's created in every single game. But I watched the clip. I wish I brought up the statistic. But the amount of creative balls that he was giving to strikers, to his wide players, and no one has got on the end of it. It's a real damn shame that Chelsea is in the position that they are in the table because performances doesn't tell you the story on Chelsea season. Because say for example someone was in a coma and they woke up and they saw Manchester United in the table, they would have thought that Manchester United was doing well. Don't look at the goal difference, but just look at having somewhat of an okay season. Yeah, they're obviously a few points off the top four, but they're having an okay season. But when you deep it and you look at the performances, they're having a terrible season, but they still managed to be, they're still in a European position, but they don't deserve to be there, especially with the goal difference that they have. But when you look at Chelsea's performances, they don't deserve to be where they're at because the performances that they've had has actually been good performances. It's just a shame that second half has caused them to be lower where they're at, and sometimes defensive mistakes, reliabilities um, have caused them to be where they're at. But overall performance of Chelsea has actually been good. Now I was fuming that I wasn't able to watch the game properly. I watched the highlights of the whole game, but I wasn't able to watch the game because it was the same time as the Liverpool game. But I would have loved to have watched the game properly live because it seemed like it would have been a good game for the neutrals. But as a Chelsea fan and as a United fan, I can imagine how stressful it is because you're watching two teams that are arse cheap. But ultimately, as a Chelsea fan, you know that you're better than United, really and truly. But you're performing on their level and allowing them to look good when they're not that good. So, you know what? It's 3 points, and Chelsea can go away and get those 3 points. But ultimately, Chelsea can't be having games like this where they're making terrible teams look better than them, or they're making terrible teams stay in the game. Like they have to, just like Liverpool, just like Arsenal, just like they have to win. It's W only from now to the end of the season. It's W's only. They have to win every single game because ultimately they need to be in Europe because the next manager that's coming in, ideally, I'm pretty sure they want to attract the best, and the best will only go to a team that has European football. So Chelsea need to be in that competition to attract the very best. Because if I'm a manager, I would rather go to a team that's in Europe because I know it's another competition that I can actually win. And with the squad that they have, it's capable that they can go on and do it. Chelsea have had far worse squads and still won the Champions League twice. So with the current squad that they have, all they need is integrate a striker, a flipping left back, a solid centre back partner, like a natural leader, like a Guehi, and potentially a world class goalkeeper like Mike McGann at AC Milan. You know, just those four missing pieces, maybe even a solid left winger as well. But those 4 5 missing pieces is all they need, and they got the finances to do it. So you know, get into Europe, attract that big boss, that big manager to come in, and there's no chance that next season, there's no doubt that they'll make top four. United, on the other hand, I'm very worried for them because even if they get rid of Ten Hag, they're still gonna have the same players that's been there for the last 6 7 years. Like nothing's changed. So the new manager that comes in, they still have to work with this current crop, and this current crop is just not good enough. And the players are on big wages. Like, how can you shift them off? How can you pay them out? Because if you pay them out, that's a large chunk of your transfer kitty that you're not going to be able to use on bringing in players. So they're in a terrible situation, United are. And as great as it is to see as a Liverpool fan, it's also sad as well because you want to see the best, the best. You want to see a title race that's with 5 6 7 teams. You know, you don't want the league to just be a 2 horse race, a 1 horse race, a 3 horse race. You want it to be just a load of teams. So yeah, it's sad to see United in the situation that they're in. To be honest, couldn't have happened to a more better guy because Alex Ferguson ruined my childhood when he was manager. But at the end of the day, yeah, man, it is sad. I'll be honest, but look, if Chelsea can go on and win 4-3 in such a frantic game, I don't see why Liverpool can't go to Old Trafford and win. And they need to go on and win. At the end of the day, United have no centre backs right now. And so there's no excuse for us not to dominate. And if we do not win, we don't deserve to win the league. It's as simple as that. Because this weekend right now, if we win this game, we're winning the league 100%. If we don't win this game, just give the league title to Man City or Arsenal, and it's unacceptable if we don't. But yeah, good win for Chelsea. Cole Palmer, as I said, responded in 24 hours. But Kayo, money's on your head this weekend because you need to respond with a hat trick as well. But yeah, fair play to Cole Palmer, man. Well, what a signing. He's another signing of the season. McAllister, Declan, and Cole Palmer, all three of them are signings of the season. Word. Because,
Yeah,
boy, madness.
yeah, he's doing craziness. The fact that he's up there with the likes of Watkins, Salah, and these man in terms of goals and assists, it's just crazy. But yeah, for in terms of United, I just think they need what we needed. They need what we did last summer. Even though it's gonna cause long term pain or short term pain, I say they just need to clean house. As soon as the end of July happens and the new 3 year strategy in terms of finances comes into play, they man need to put out their players on a fire sale. I'm talking about all of them, man. Like there's only maybe 2 or 3 players that I would keep. I would keep like a Mino. I'd keep a Dallo, maybe Onana because he can be good in terms of the right system. But they need to get rid of a lot of man, and it needs to happen sooner rather than later. You can't do the free in free out thing because they got they got players from 3 4 managers ago. So and for me, they've even like loaned out players and stuff like that, like Sancho and stuff that can actually play for this team and actually be a positive if they're put in the right system. So it's gonna be interesting to see. They have no more scapegoats in terms of the players that they normally talk about because they're all either injured or out or just not available. So, but yeah, it was a great game. Um, I know like the commentators were saying it's a great what's it called, representation of Premier League football, but for me, nah, the defending in the midfield was so bad on both teams that that's not what you show when you talk about Premier League. Nah, even though it was
Mm,
exciting and it was crazy, it was just it felt like a championship or like a League One match or a Bundesliga match, man. Just frantic. It just didn't feel Premier League. It felt like old school Premier League where it was 4-4-2, get stuck in, and everything goes.
mm,
And very silly decisions on both teams in terms of individual players, in terms of giving away penalties, corners, and stuff like that. But good win for my team. Do I believe we're gonna win the next game? I mean, we got Sheffield United, and we play. To be honest, we're a team that plays to the level of the team we play. So we're gonna get a draw, just like we did against Burnley. I don't believe in my team. I will never believe in my team. And this, even though we scored 2 goals in the last second, and made them man have to do late night streams, man had to do therapy sessions, man had to do congregations, come by, come by, my lord. Then man had to skip, ending their fast and that because they had to talk about Man United, the Red Devils. If anything, what happened to United is karma because they've been getting away with murder for the whole season. So if anything, this week, I hope it continues. I need that Liverpool spanking. I need that 7-8-0, especially after what happened in the FA Cup. Liverpool need to remember that. They need to put that result on the wall. Say, oh, that's what they did to you. Get get back season. But the last thing that I quickly want to talk about, and it's very suspicious that this thing is coming around. It's not result related, but it's the background related. They're they're planning to bring in a luxury tax for teams that overspend. Now, the Premier League are doing their best to not get Man City in trouble and Chelsea in trouble by adding this luxury tax. It's a very similar system to the NBA and NFL where if a team overspends their wage gap or the amount of money they're meant to spend, then they have to pay extra fines and stuff like that. And those extra fines will get reimbursed to the other teams of the league, which is a good system, but it doesn't work in the Premier League because if you break the financial rules of the Premier League, then you may even break the rules of UEFA. So you may get the luxury tax in England, but as soon as you hit European spots, UEFA's gonna come around and say, you ain't allowed in our competitions. So there needs to be a tweak in terms of what they're trying to do. I don't think the current system that they have is working because these points deductions isn't a good look, in my opinion. It's giving teams that don't deserve a chance to be in this league the possibility to stay. For me, Everton and Nottingham Forest don't deserve to be out of the league because of the financial constraints and whatnot. I think fineage, but this luxury tax thing, it smells Man City to me. Smells very American to me. And the fact that 17 teams agree with this, I ain't gonna lie to you. Teams that aren't in Europe, they're gonna be spending like it's no tomorrow. You think Chelsea 1 billion is bad? They're gonna spend another billion if they're not in Europe, and no one's gonna stop them. And you know what? Because of that, bring the luxury tax, another billion. Yeah, will be the £2 billion bottle jobs. And you know what, Gary Neville? Shame on you for calling us bottle jobs when your team did that in the last minute. That is the latest a team has conceded and lost a game. Latest, 101 minutes, 90 plus. You're breaking records out here. You're breaking barriers. Thank you, Ten Hag. We haven't beaten United since 2017 at home. Thank you, Ten Hag. Anyway, this has been the Hold That show. Hold that to United. Hold that to Saka. Hold that to Haaland and all the FPL man them that had them two in their team, including me. 0 points, nil points. Man, captain Haaland and he didn't even play. Pep, you got a problem with me. bold fraud. Anyway, luckily I had Isaac as my vice captain, so he got the double points instead. But you know, good points week, I would say. Good points week. But all that to all the teams that lost over the midweek and this weekend, the biggest game in English football, Liverpool Man United. It's at Anfield, right?
No, it's at Old Trafford.
Ooh, at Old Trafford, the theatre of nightmares.
Our bogey ground.
This is I think this is going to be a very significant weekend for the Premier League, for top four race, for the title, and it's heating up. And we also got the semi-finals of the cup. You know, United versus Coventry, City versus Chelsea as well coming around. Champions League is going to come back around as well. Europa League, it's heating up. It's heating up. And after Easter holiday, it's going to get more and more fire. But it's been a whole that show, as I said, and we out. Peace.
Peace.
Oh, PSA. Sorry for any technical difficulties at the start of the show. Is what it is. Internet sometimes be slow. BT do better.
Hey, Saka, you still have 24 hours to respond.
He's got the weekend. He didn't even play. He didn't even play. Man doing the limping gimmick. Every time he has a bad game, he limps. Anyway. And we out. WrestleMania weekend and the Royal Rumble and all of that. It's fighting season. Yeah. And we out. Peace.
Peace.